Hello, and welcome to BOLO version 6. This is the fourth video in a four-part video series that's meant to be a user guide for the system, the users of the system. This video is dedicated to the root user. Now, in order for you to be able to gain access to our system, your account has to be created by a root user. That is to say that an administrative user cannot create a root user. Only a root user can create a root user. Once an account has been created for you, you will receive an email. In this email, you will have your username and your temporary password. So let's go ahead and try to sign into the system now. We'll copy over this password and we'll type in our username. Now, the first thing you have to do when you get into the system is that you have to change your password. If you do not change your password, you won't be allowed to navigate the system. So we'll go ahead and we'll create our new password now. Perfect, now we're in the system. Now, the root user can do everything that the administrative user can with some added functionality. Specifically, the root user can make changes to the login page, make changes to the user guide, make changes to the About Us page, they can perform data analysis, and they can manipulate archive bolos. If we go to the administrative portal, we'll see that we'll have different options than we did when we were an administrative user. These different options are data analysis and all the edit options that I mentioned before. Now, as a root user, you can still create an agency, you can still create a user, you can still create a category. Now we can go over some of those things briefly, but our main focus is going to be the data analysis as well as the editing. So if we wanted to go and create a new agency, will be agency test. We can add a domain. We'll put in the address, the city, the state is already filled out for us, the zip code, and the phone number. And now you have to upload a logo. That's one of the things that is required when you're creating an agency. You have to have a logo. And all the other fields are required as well. Okay, perfect. So if we go to agency management, we'll see that our agency test has been created. And you see all the information that there is about that agency there. You can also create a user. Go ahead and add new user. And we'll fill out all the appropriate fields. We'll call this one Bolo system user. Bolo system user. We'll add it to our agency test that we just created, and we'll send them to the email. We'll make this one an officer. We'll put in their badge number. They are a system user. And we'll go ahead and we'll submit. Perfect, so you'll see that the Bolo system user has been registered. We can go to user management now, and we'll see that the user in fact has been added to the system, but you'll notice it's not active. That's because similarly to how we had to go and change our password the first time we logged in, the user is not active until they go ahead and they log into the system for the first time and change their password. So let's go add a category. We'll call this one stolen car. And we'll be able to add different fields. So we'll say model, make, who the owner was, color of the car, and we'll say tag number. We'll go ahead and submit. You'll see the category stolen car has been created. We can go to Bolo category management. It in fact has been created. And if we go to create a Bolo, we can see that the category itself has also been created, and we can add all the different fields that we want to, and then go ahead and submit to create the bolo. Now we're not going to go ahead and create a bolo because it's been talked about extensively in the other 3 videos. However, the root user can create a bolo, and it's exactly the same process as if you were an admin user or as if you were a regular system user. Uh, just make sure that when you create the bolo, you have to go ahead and go to your email and click the confirmation link in order for it to show up on the bolo system. Otherwise, if it's not confirmed, it won't show up. So just make sure you have to confirm it. Now let's get into the root specific options that we have. As a root user, you can edit the login page. So if we go to edit login page, we'll see that this is a small uh, uh, small view of what the login page looks like. And we can go ahead and we can actually add more text or even change the image if we wanted to. We're going to go ahead. This is Brian's Bolo system. Go ahead and save it. We'll see the changes are saved, and this is actually going to be displayed when you go to log in. And we'll check that a little bit later. Now we can actually go to edit user guide, and we can make changes to the user guide as we see fit. The edit login page, edit user guide, and edit about us page all use the same method. They use markdown language to be able to input new text into the already existing text or edit the text that's already there, even delete it. So we can make changes to the user guide as well. If we go to the edit about us page, we can make changes to that as well. We can just add more information. We also had a helping hand from MongoDB support. And we'll just add a few lines there. We can click save. We'll see the changes are saved. Go to the about us page, and we'll see that the line of text that we added did in fact show up. Go back to the admin portal. Let's go ahead and take that line out. Save. And we'll see if we go to the about us page that the line is now taken out. Now the reason that we wanted the root user to be able to have this power to be able to change it is so that the root user can change the user guide or change the login page or change the about us page based on the needs of the police department that's using our system. You know, not maybe one police department is going to have different needs as to what they put on their login page. So being a root user, you can actually edit all of these different things, which is a feature that our product owner was very proud of. But that's how you would go ahead as a root user to go ahead and change the login page, change the user guide, change the about us page. You just go to the admin portal and you click on the option that you want. And when you find it, you just edit into the markdown editor, and it'll even preview it live what it'll look like. And then when you save it, you'll see the changes that you saved. One of the other features that a root user has is data analysis. And in data analysis, you can basically pull stats from whichever agency you want. And the statistics basically just say the bolo that you have for those agencies and what the information of those bolos are. So we'll go ahead and we'll do FIU and we'll download. You see that a CSV did download. We'll wait for that to open. In the meantime, however, let's go talk about archive. So as a root user, you have the option to go to archived. And in archive, you see all of the bolos that have been archived in the system. And if you wanted to, you can restore it. So let's say we wanted to restore this one. We go back to home, you'll see that it has been restored. And now it'll show up on the live view. Go ahead, archive it again. Go to archive. We can actually delete it. We can delete any of the ones we want. So let's delete this one. Just like that, it's deleted and it's no longer in the archive folder. Now this could only be done by the root user. An administrative user cannot do this. Go to details. Once you have a bolo created, you can go and view the details just like any other user. You can generate a PDF just like any other user. As a root user, the main things that you want to focus on are being able to change the login page, change the password, change the user guide, change the About Us page. You're able to do data analysis. You're able to manipulate the archived bolos as you see fit. That's what the root user is meant to do. Also, a root user can create another root user. So just to go back to creating a user, when you go ahead and create a user and you're going to select what kind of user you're going to create, you'll see that when you're root, you have the option to create a root user. When you're administrator user, you only have these three options. But only a root user can create a root user. Now let's go. So when you download the data analysis, you can actually see that these are we only had one bolo on there, but it'll give you all the information of that bolo, when it was last updated, who created it, if it had any images. And this is just an option that the product owner wanted to have, but as a root user, you have access to this portal. You have access to pull this kind of information from the server. Go ahead and close that and go back to our bolo system. As a root user, you have probably the most privileges on the system, as it should be, and you also have the largest responsibility to be able to make the changes that you need to make based on the needs of the police department that's using our system. You're also not limited. You have all the functionality of all the other users as well. You can create users, create categories, create bolos. You have access to basically the entire system. And you can go ahead, view your account details, change password, anything that any other user can do, with the exception that you have the added functionality of data analysis, edit login page, edit user guide page, edit about us page, and you can manipulate the archive bolos that are in the system. And again, if you want to do any of that, you go to the administrative portal, you select the option that you want, whether it be data analysis, edit login page, edit user guide, edit about us page, or you go to the archive tab, and you can manipulate them any way, which way you want. You can go to details, you can restore them, you can delete them. I hope that you guys know that being a root user is a valuable asset to the Bolo system. It adds a whole new dynamic to the Bolo system. It gives a wide range of options for customization as well as for statistics gathering. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this tutorial on how to be a root user, and I just wanted to go ahead and sign off before we ended this tutorial so that you can see that the change that I made earlier to the login page did take effect. So you'll see Brian's Bolo system, and that's just some of the powers that you have as a root user. If you guys have any other questions, please feel free to contact us. You can also look at the user guide where we have step-by-step instructions on how to perform each of the functionalities of the system. I hope you guys have found this useful and informative. My name is Brian Zamora, and thank you for using Bolo version System 6.